What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Today I have with us back a very special guest, a dear friend, very intelligent, the words that I had to describe Christine don't even exist. I'm talking about as a person who has literally been on the road with her for hours and hours. Like, she never stops. She just never stops. Even as we speak, she's out in DC advocating for on behalf of the Haitian community and the immigrant community. Everybody, welcome back to the show, Christine Olivo. Christine, thanks for joining.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
You're so sweet. Like,
only sometimes.
Yeah.
Three days a week. This is one of the days.
I'm nothing compared to you.
Don't do that. You lie. Don't do that. So you texted me to invite me to a protest in DC as I was flying out. And I was like, I didn't know what was happening, which is probably a little bit problematic. And it was to bring attention to what's happening to the Haitian community right now. And you kind of got me privy to like, these aren't normal deportations. This isn't a normal immigration situation. In the historical context, this is a horrific, more than usual, because of the nature these deportations are being carried out. Can you go ahead and enlighten the audience on what you were referring to?
Yes. Well, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Christine Olivo. I am from Miami, Florida, but right now I'm here in DC. I am a first-generation American. My family's from Haiti. So this is a very personal journey for me. On Friday, I was at a press conference talking about the horrors of what is happening at the border. We have almost 14,000 Haitian immigrants alongside some Cuban immigrants, Venezuelans, and Nicaraguans. I don't want to discredit their journey as well, but it's mainly 13,000 more so are Haitian immigrants, and the rest are different from different parts of the world. They traveled here. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. My cousin calls my mom a few weeks ago and says she's been living in Chile for the past 4 years. And she says that this is her opportunity. There's a group going to the US. This is their last chance to find a way to have a sustainable life, because where they were living, they didn't want to give them citizenship. So they wanted a better life for their family. So a group was coming. My mother begged her not to go. She's like, it's dangerous. We don't want anything to happen to you. Fast forward to Friday, I get a call that there's a press conference. And, Christine, you've got to go to this press conference. They found 9,000 Haitians under a bridge at the border. Mm. That number started off at 9,000 and now has gone to up to 14,000. Now, this was just Friday. This is
Whoa.
The timeline. Yeah.
Where are they? Are they all leaving Haiti or from other countries?
No. So they came from other countries.
The Haitians came from other countries.
Yes. A lot of the Haitians were in Chile for 4 years.
Okay.
So after the earthquake and just different things, hurricanes and stuff like that, a lot of Haitians were displaced and moved to various areas. So Chile, Brazil, there's a huge Haitian community in Brazil. So they were all in these different pockets of South America for years. And every single one of these folks under the bridge tried to apply directly through the United States government, tried to apply for, TPS, whatever they could. And they were ignored. So let's get away from anything. Seeking asylum in and of itself is a legal act. Well,
Christine, really quick, did they try contacting Hillary Clinton? I've heard that she cares a lot about the community.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I've heard. She's done so much great work in Haiti.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she want to help them out?
Yeah. Well, we would love her help now for some redemption of what she really has done to Haiti. So maybe she should actually open up her mouth now and urge Biden to stop these deportations. It is inhumane. It is unjust.
Now you said inhumane and unjust, and there's a very specific reason for that.
Yes.
You said he's using something called Title 42 in order to undercut the due process that they're entitled to. Can you go ahead and delve a little bit into that?
So Title 42 it was what it's what America used to create Japanese internment camps. Title 42 was what stopped survivors of the Holocaust from getting into America. Title 42 is what Trump used to put children in cages. And Title 42 is what the Biden administration is using right now to deport Haitians. What Title 42 does is say, oh, because there's a health risk. That's exactly it. Because there's a health risk, we can't take migrants at this time. So because of the health risk, we have to deport them immediately. There is no evidence of this health risk. A judge,
like a unique health risk. Like there's no evidence of a unique health risk. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no evidence of it, because what they're saying is, oh, it's going to spread the virus. Okay, well, rush vaccines to the border. Let's just rush vaccines to the border. There's no evidence to show that there has been a huge spread from the border.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that data?
That's
that shows
true.
that we've had a huge spread from the border. There's nothing there. So these are racist policies. Let's just be real.
They're fascist policies, it seems like
Yes.
literally. I mean, so they're using policies that prevented Holocaust victims from entering the U.S.
Yes.
That literally ended up leading to the creation of Japanese internment camps.
Yes.
And one way or the other, you could feel. I know a lot of people have a lot of different ways they feel about immigration, and that's one thing. But everybody's entitled to due process. Everybody. Once you step foot on this soil, that's the way the game is played. That's the way the Constitution set it up. There's a reason for that, or else you wouldn't be able to apply to seek asylum. But that's part of the due process.
Unless you are an indigenous American, we are all immigrants.
That's true.
What makes America great is that we created opportunities through other cultures. Like, that is how we built our country, bringing other people in and building something sustainable where people can thrive. I saw on Twitter someone said, oh, these Haitians, they're going to really hurt the labor force if we let them in.
Hold on, I thought it was Mexicans and Guatemalans and Nicaraguans, because remember it was, oh, we got to protect the black labor force, and now it's like, okay, well, black people need the labor. Whoa, hold on, we made our kind of black. I'm like, what? It's crazy.
Listen, okay, there are thousands, tens of thousands of jobs right now that could be filled with those coming in at the border.
Mm-hmm.
They work the jobs that we don't want to work. Let's just be real right now. Hard working. Just
trying to find a better way. I mean, like you said, there's the earthquake that has to be considered. And I feel like that's actually a very legitimate cause for application for asylum or refugee status, because like your home is like destroyed. Okay. And once again, there was enough of a reason for everybody to donate millions of dollars to Hillary Clinton to go pillage the country under the guise of helping out the community. So clearly there's enough of a justification to justify seeking asylum. And then you have the actual interference of their elections, which is very well documented.
Assassination of the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the connectivity to the assassination of Moise, the propping up of Moise against other presidents, because that was a whole different thing. Like, there is a lot of reasons why the Haitian community has never been able to properly recover, and in circumstances where they've and I'm gonna be very, very blunt here. If you've lived in Miami or if you've lived in South Florida and you understand what refugee status actually means, refugee status generally means you were at one point. You were on the wealthy white class of whatever establishment or regime that the U.S. previously had installed, and you're running away from the multiracial, multicolored working class regime that might want to hold you accountable. We saw what happened with Bolivia, where all those right-wing militants looking about it really looked like you was going to a fraternity that just happened to speak Spanish, because it was like they were in an immersion program. And there's a reason that they all look like that, because that's who else we work with. We don't work with the black leaders of any given country, not in a bilateral way, only to use them. And then they get taken to the ICC, the International Criminal Court. And guess what the ICC almost completely looks like? It looks like the jails in the United States. The only ones who get prosecuted are the African dictators. So there's a pattern that we're seeing reoccurring, where when we see refugees, it's not actually refugees. And then the refugees who actually need the help, this is how they get treated.
And I'm so frustrated. My cousin is there, so we can't reach her. But there are Haitian organizations that are on the ground. They are letting them bring food and water to them. But we have the humanitarian crisis. Before you start thinking about deporting, we have 2 women that have given birth right there under the bridge. Get them aid, get food, water, shelter. Like, we have the humanitarian crisis on our hands. And on top of that, Haiti just had an earthquake yesterday, a 4.2 magnitude earthquake. Obviously not as strong as the one they had a few weeks ago, but it's the land is unstable.
I mean, it's already unstable, and they were already going through I know the infrastructure was already a little shaky as of late. Yeah. So it's sad. It's really sad. And it's and once again, it's one of those issues where I feel like this is not a partisan issue. I know there's a lot of Christians out there, right? You might be conservative Christian. But this is actually one of them points where you are supposed to demand more of those who are supposed to be leading you. This is like,
where are the churches? That's a great question. Where are the churches watching this happen? Like, where is your heart? Where is your Christianity?
Like, where's all those Texas churches? Nobody's gonna take them food. Nobody, no, Doctors Without Borders is a thing. I know they're usually overseas, but I know there are a lot of doctors, like you were telling me, there are people delivering. Women are having babies. People, y'all think they really want to be at a border under a bridge when they're pregnant and about to give birth? You think that's a choice?
But that also goes to show how desperate they were for a better life, that they're willing to cross that path. You have to see the images of people crossing the Rio Grande, crossing that path, and willing. 8 or 9 months pregnant, willing to give birth just so that they can have a better life for their children.
And if there are that many women,
their children get a birth certificate. They don't get a nice little maternity photo shoot. No, this is.
And you were talking about that there are a lot of pregnant women coming over right now, right?
Yes.
And it makes it even more interesting.
So the reports on the ground say that there's a lot of pregnant women. They are trying to get them hotels. Some people.
Well, what I was going to say is that it makes it even more interesting because it looks like that there is an attempt to get them out so they can't get their kids cannot have naturalized citizenship. Because if they're born here, then technically speaking, those are now American citizens. And if you can get them out now, then because if they get born here, you can't deport the mom now. Because she's a caretaker, and now she can be entitled to due process. And now then they probably just stop paying attention after a while. So it looks like you're literally just trying to get people out, like get black people out. Is what it looks like. You're
absolutely right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, this is like let's be honest, right? This is in Texas. The governor Abbott, I believe his name is, the governor of Texas, is trying to blame the president of Mexico, and it's like. Well, no, Mexico had nothing to do with destabilizing the entire country of Haiti over the course of not even just the last decade. It's been decades at this point. Going back to after they overthrew the French regime. Like we've been destabilizing that country. And so once again, like these women crossing this border, making this like traversing this crazy terrain to get there just so their kids have an opportunity to be American citizens.
Give them due process. How do you look someone in the eyes and say, oh yeah, I know you traveled for weeks and went through some really extreme circumstances, but peace out. We're sending you to a country, not the country that you came from, but the country that you haven't been to in over 4 or 5 years. I know you don't have a home there. I know you don't have a job there. I know that the country's probably upside down, but good luck.
And now you're going to face other issues because now you're going to be like, viewed as like outsiders as far as the economy is like you're gonna so there's going to be issues.
You guys left, you guys, let me tell you something. It's not easy to go back, right? And not only are you dealing with what is going on the ground, people are looking at you You guys left. What are we going to do with you now? You know what I'm saying? Now they don't even know what they're going back to.
Yeah. And it's worse than what they left at this point.
It's way worse than what they left.
It's the whole situation is horrible. Like, and can you speak a little bit about, you said there are other immigrants there as well, that like in this particular case isn't really being discussed by the news, because what is being discussed is a little bit more the Haitian situation, but there are actually other Latino groups that were traversing with them, right?
Yes. So we have a group of Cubans, which is also very close to home for me, because in South Florida, especially, you know, what Cuba's going through right now, we have an obligation. We have an obligation to help our Cuban brothers and sisters, but we have Cubans, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans, like that's the group that is so far that we've heard are amongst the Haitians, the Haitian migrants.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that those are being drowned out too, because those are also all countries that we happen to be interfering in too, and they have one thing in common, which is we are actively destabilizing all their nations. And this is why when people want to say, well, why don't we put such and such at the border? Why don't we get them out? How about we start at the root of the problem? How about we stop fucking up their countries so they don't have to leave? How about we try that? 100%. So when you hold your government accountable and the military industrial complex accountable and your politicians accountable and these lobbyists accountable and the people to the left and the right of you who enable all these people without saying a word, then maybe you can talk about who should and shouldn't be deported. But you don't go burn somebody else's house down and then be surprised when they're knocking on your door.
100%.
It's pretty simple, 100%. Everybody. You said there's a protest tomorrow, Christine?
So there's a protest tomorrow because I don't know if you've seen the news, but the immigration portion of the reconciliation bill is being taken out.
Of course. Oh my God. Oh man, this is the worst administration of my lifetime. It hasn't even been a year. It hasn't even been a year. What was the immigration portion going to guarantee? I guess hopefully if it doesn't get
to DACA, to Dreamers.
What? So they're going to keep them in limbo?
You know, I have to see what the options are. It's not even that they're keeping them in limbo. They just don't want that in the reconciliation bill. They don't. You know, and today I'm imagining it's cinema and.
I mean, it probably is all of the Democrats.
You know,
let's be honest.
I think that they used Mansion and cinema as like.
Isn't it crazy? Do you remember when Mitch McConnell was the Senate Majority Leader and everything was Mitch McConnell's fault? But now it's Chuck Schumer, but everything is somehow Joe Manchin's fault. We never hear Chuck Schumer's name ever. Peculiar, huh?
So it's all about narratives and who's owning it and who's questioning it. So we need to really do our research. We need to question what's right and what's wrong. We need to question how things possible. How is it possible that two people get to decide what's in and out of this bill? You know, so there is.
It isn't two people. It's just they blame two people. So that because it's easy to scapegoat them because they're like, you're both in secure districts. You're not going anywhere. So we'll just go ahead and point the fingers at them. But they're not going to point the fingers or about the people who are not raising the alarm, who are complicit in their behavior. Like, bro, I just wanted to remind everybody of this shit. I can never remind them enough. We have a Democratic House, Democratic Senate, Democratic executive branch, and they're filibuster proof. They can do whatever the hell they wanted to for you, and they are not only choosing not to do anything, they're doing the opposite. They're completely screwing you and throwing you and everybody you love in this country and around the world at this point under the bus. We thought a lot of people thought, well, I guess if I'm not gonna get my $2,000 unless at least Trump is out.
Yeah. Well.
yeah. We wish that was where it stopped. Was $2,000.
Has been a disappointment from the beginning. What everyone was saying at the protest is that Biden, we will never forget this. I don't know if you know this, but when Biden came to Little Haiti, it was like a week. He went to Little Haiti, Little Havana. When he came to Little Haiti, he got down on his knees at the Little Haiti Cultural Arts Center. I mean, talk about dramatics. He got down on his knees and said that he is a friend of Haiti. He is going to help the Haitian Americans thrive, like the Haitian community thrive. He said that what people don't know is that the Haitian vote, the strongest vote in South Florida, his election was dependent on the Haitian vote to win. So we voted for you and you deport us. Like is that what friends do for each other? Is that what you meant by getting down on your knees?
Yeah, that's what's even wilder. Yeah, like I didn't even think about it in the context of like, damn, that wasn't even. I keep thinking, oh, that was like 3. No, that was literally like not even a year ago. Not even a year ago. Not even a year ago. And he's like, yeah, sorry, I got to deport your cousins now. I got to deport your grandmas now.
I started deportations right in the beginning of his presidency.
Yeah.
He actually deported more Haitians within, I think, 3 months than Trump did in 1 year.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He blew Trump's numbers off the wall. It's crazy for every. And then let me just say, and I think it's important to mention once again, the Haitian deportations are what y'all don't ever hear about. You hear often about the Mexican community, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Hondurans even, but you never hear about the Haitian community. And this is something I have to constantly bring up. For the same reason, I have to constantly bring up how you all never hear about the fact that Africa became the new battleground for the war on terror. They made it a bold announcement, but nobody's talking about it because, unfortunately, issues that are dealing primarily with Black issue, despite the fact that how many people give lip service to Black issues, nobody seems to care when it happens. Only whenever, and at points where we see all the signs and we can move in a preventative fashion to bring attention and bring light to what's about to happen, we just see people end up like looking to tear jerk, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. If only there was something they could do. And I know that a lot of y'all know what happens in Africa, in Haiti, to the indigenous and a lot of East, Central and South American countries, and people don't say anything about it until they can go get some clicks off of how sad they are about it, and then move on the next week because it doesn't affect them anymore. Like if you care about these issues when it's a Mexican, when it's a Cuban, when it's a Nicaraguan, when it's a European, Eastern European, a Arab, a Muslim, a Desi, like why is there not the same consistent energy when it comes to the Haitians or when it comes to Africans?
Let me say this. That's why we elect representatives, right? Like they're supposed to be the ones that actually have the power that can shed light on these injustices. Mm-hmm. My opponent, which I don't know if everyone watching knows that I'm running for Congress. My opponent, Frederica Wilson, has the largest Haitian population in our district. She represents the largest Haitian population. The silence is deafening. Mm-hmm. Nancy Pelosi, the silence is deafening. The only person that even tweeted about this was Jamal Bowman. How is it that we are supposed to have representatives that are being a voice for the community and they're all going about their business and not even advocating to the Biden administration?
Not even pretending to advocate. Y'all can't even pretend?
We can't even pretend. I'm actually dressed like this because I'm heading over to Capitol Hill to see who I can run into. Oh. We need allies on the inside. No, I don't have meetings with anyone, but you know what? I create opportunities. I'm going to find someone to talk to.
She's telling the truth about that one, guys. She really does not. She don't need a meeting with her. Schedule a damn thing. She gotta, you know what I mean? She don't need to schedule anything with anybody. She gonna find somebody. I promise. And I really hope you do. This is the state of the country right now, or the leadership in this country, I should say. I'm not going to keep. I don't like constantly and continuously putting it on the people. Like everybody's being propagandized, everybody's being deceived, everybody's being lied to, and there is some accountability in the sense that we have to start doing something about it. But it's this leadership is at its they're morally bankrupt. They are corrupt to the core. They don't care about human life. Beyond like, oh, they're just corrupt and they want money. Yeah, that's one thing. But no, they literally do not give a shit about human life. And that's where we're at. And that's where we got to accept. And that's when we're doing our activism and our actions. Like you got to think about all the stuff from the position of they do not care if you live or die.
We are all part of their business plan. If we don't fit into their business plan, then that's it. That's why we don't have Medicare for all. It's not good business.
Yeah, it's literally.
It's not good business.
Wow.
We need to make money off of people.
Well, I'm constantly being told we care about our health. We got to do everything to survive. We got to destroy your businesses and your money and your livelihood to survive. Okay, well, can we have healthcare? Whoa, bridge too far. You're asking for too much.
Yeah.
We can deport some of your family, though. Is that enough? We're trying to keep you safe. Christine, use Title 42 to make sure that they might be sick. You might be sick. I don't know.
Yeah, well, get help to them. Get care to them. Get them things. Get whatever it is that you need to them. But let them in. Give them a chance. Now, I have specific call to actions for everyone. If you go on any of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, my Instagram is at Christine for Congress. My Twitter is at Christine F424, Christine 2424.
Is your Twitter, or excuse me, is your Instagram 4, like with the 4, number 4?
No. Okay. My Instagram is spelled out Christine for FOR Congress.
Okay.
I always spell out 4, except on TikTok. That's a different story.
Go ahead.
So what I'm asking you to do is call your representative, call your senator. We need to make a noise. They need to know that we care. All right. It can't just be me. I need help. So I need everyone to call. On top of that, on my social media, I also show where you can donate to. The Haitian Bridge, that they're an organization, the Haitian Bridge Alliance. They're literally under the bridge. They're bringing food. I know it for a fact. I was on a Zoom with them last night. I got to see the people under the bridge. I know that your money's going to the right place. Please, they're bringing medicine. Whatever you can donate would be great. I would be so grateful, even if it's $10. It's going to help somebody get some water and a meal. And the last thing that you can do is share and retweet or just comment about it. We have to flood social media with this. Why is it that it's been almost a week and we're still just finding out that this is happening? The country should be in an outrage by now.
I didn't hear about this until Christine told me. I was in DC, everybody. I was in DC. I hadn't heard anything about this till Christine said something. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, when is the protest?
Tomorrow, I have to find out the details, but I can give you the details and then you can give it to everybody else.
Well, I was gonna say, follow Christina on social media. I mean, y'all already follow me. I'm temporarily been off of Twitter. It's a whole different thing, everybody. But go follow Christina on social media. I'll post the information. I already have so if you want to donate, I have the hastenbridge.org in the description right now. And so you can find that there. Whenever we get the information about the protest, I'll post that there as well. And also I'll post it in the comment section to make sure y'all share and post all this stuff too, please. Other than that, Christine, you have any last words for everybody?
If you can support me in any way, I'm here in DC, but anything will also help the fight. So I don't want to neglect also my efforts and my efforts towards being the representative that you deserve. I think the reason why the Haitian community is suffering this is because we don't have a Haitian representative in Congress fighting for us, and we need that, and I can be that. So thank you so much. Remember that there's always someone else that has it so much worse. Take them into consideration, have some humanity, show some dignity, and let's fight.
Absolutely. Trust me, I promise you, victims are not the reason for your problems. They're victims, and y'all might be victims in different ways, but it's never a victim's fault for your victimhood. And maybe if we did show some humanity, like Christine said, there would be less and less victims, huh? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Leave a comment below to let us know what you think. But always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.